University. Now we have 6 faculties, 54 programs, and Islamic Economics and Finance department was on Faculty of Business and Administrative Sciences. Last year we got our first students and we started our semester. If you said 10 minutes, so I try to explain. As we know, over the past decade, financial crises throughout the world have led to new quests in the fields of economy and finance, and the interest-free economy and finance system has been taken up by many countries and researchers. These inquiries, particularly onto Islamic economy and finance, have allowed this sector to evolve as it develops in these fields. When it developed rapidly, for example, United Kingdom, USA, and the other European countries started to study this field. But for Turkey, this field is very new, actually. So we think that our university thinks that in the light of these developments abroad, we have set out to eliminate the lack of undergraduate education in the field of Islamic economics and finance in our country, to establish the database related to the field, and to eliminate the lack of textbooks, to increase the number of specialized personnel, and to improve the personal competences. We found this department. The main aim is to provide students with necessary academic knowledge in Islamic economics and finance at undergraduate level. I will take these. These are our aims to increase the number of specialized personnel in participant banking and to improve staff competences, but not only participation banking, not only, because we would like to teach the students Islamic economics and finance, and we try to create some new models, some new financial instruments. And last year, when we started to establish this department, launch this department, we made a workshop, national workshop, and we invited our lecturers and from some people participant banks this workshop, and we try to create a common curriculum, because we want to Islamic finance will be improved rapidly in Turkey. So we create this curriculum. In first year, these table 4 in first year, macro and microeconomics. In first semester, main subjects in Quran and Islamic values. We put this lesson because some of our students doesn't know everything about Quran and Islam. So we say we want to introduce them for these subjects. And introduction to law, introduction to management, financial accounting. These are our business administration programs. And second, and the introduction to Islamic economics. In first year we put this, and second year.
Sorry, just to query, is there any connection between microeconomics and introduction to Islamic economics one?
It's different.
So microeconomics is purely conventional?
Yeah, only conventional. We want to we think that our students should learn conventional and Islamic together. We think that about this.
The course on Atatürk's principle.
It's obligatory. Yes, compulsory. Yeah, it should be. All university. It should be.
National requirement.
Yes, it's a national requirement. And
also Turkish language, isn't it?
Yes, Turkish language and
foreign language.
Yes, foreign language. It's obligatory, regulatory. And for our university, Civilization and Vision and Medrese of Karatay and Work Ethics and Ahi. This is a compulsive courses.
You asked that is it the introduction to Islamic economics and Islamic introduction microeconomics, are they related? To my, I am very new in this area. I would like to ask: is there a microeconomic theory of Islamic economics?
No.
The consumer theory or something?
There are works, of course, that try to talk about theory of consumer behavior from Islamic perspective, and some people call it Islamic theory of consumer behavior.
May I have some books, the name of some books which I can study to...
After the presentation, you may...
And second year course program, this is first semester Islamic economics, Islamic commercial law, Islamic contracts and commercial contracts, introduction to Islamic finance, financial management, statistics, business mathematics are combined business administration program and Islamic economics and finance program. Second semester is added Islamic economics to second. Islamic economics law, Islamic commercial law, second. Cost and managerial accounting, econometrics and modeling.
These are all compulsory, no elective, right?
No, compulsory. On everybody's compulsory. Mehmet Hocam, last year we made this together.
10 courses in one semester.
Yes, 10 courses.
So this is how many credit hours?
Change on the
How many hours per week? 2 hours, 3 hours?
Some of them 3 hours, some of them is 2 hours.
So they will take almost 20
Yeah. So many courses, yes, so many courses. It's very heavy, but we are very open to new advances because I said before, we want to create a common curriculum together. And
It's not possible for universities.
yes, for us it's not for
Every university should have its own curriculum. Maybe some common points.
some common points maybe.
Should be reached, but universities had to add themselves in the curriculums.
And it's third year program. Here is departmental elective courses. I will show it at the end of the presentation. We added Ottoman Turkish into semester here. And the last year is in the second semester, it's training and practice semester. They won't come to university. They will go participant banks or the other organizations. I don't know, maybe in the international organizations for practicing the Islamic economics and finance, because we want to teach our students theory and practice. It can be going on together. We believe that. And our elective lessons is here. There is 40 lessons, but
so how do you see elective courses like this comparing conventional and Islamic courses? Which one students choose more?
They are in the second year now.
they are in the second year, yes. But in business administration department, we have one course. It's about participant banking, and this year over the 40 students choose these courses. They interested in these courses, and some of our students ask, for example, we attend these courses, or we make double major. They will ask because they're interested in Konya. They will interested.
In some Turkish universities, there are some compulsory elective courses. If you do not open enough courses, then the elective courses become compulsory.
No, we opened 4 lessons, but they attend this lesson. It's the elective lessons. I don't know which one we open.
Yeah.
I don't know because there's a. Thank you.
Thank
For
you.
your kind attention.
And if you have some questions and comments for the Karatay University, and you may.
Can I just ask about
excuse me, the lady.
Oh,
Okay, sorry. You have quite a number of elective courses. I saw you have Islamic finance, Islamic finance studies. You also have. Can you show the relevant slide? Yes. You also have Islamic debt law, risk management, Islamic financial derivatives. These are basically topics which are discussed under Islamic finance.
Yeah.
So what do you actually discuss in Islamic finance studies course?
Islamic finance studies. Which?
Sorry, anladın mı?
Anladım. Islamic finance studies. We aim to read some papers and some discussion papers with the students and create something about this, or create a new discussion, or create a new paper in these lessons.
They want to go to in detail.
In details, yes.
In courses.
Yes.
Issues in Islamic finance.
Yes.
Yeah, my interest is just I was looking at the Introduction to Islamic Economics 1, Introduction to Islamic Economics 2. So apparently it seems 2 is a bit of a higher course than 1, isn't it?
1, and it's continuous.
Continuous. So just give us a rough idea. What is it that is in 1 that you add to 2? How does
2 semester. We have 2 semester, and we first, for example, Professor Murat Çizakça gave this course.
In first part history,
yes,
and in the second part history again.
Yes. He requires 2 semesters for this lesson.
But it seems to me that you have these elective courses, no?
Yeah.
Quite many and numerous. I mean, students can choose quite a lot. I mean, that's good things as a base subjects for students to choose.
Yes.
As elective.
Are these also on paper, but not necessarily offered, or everything can be offered?
Not everything. Because in Turkey we have a problem for the lecturers. There is not too much lecture for Islamic economics and finance. Maybe we every year we open 6 or.
Yes. You have compulsory electives there.
Yes, compulsory electives. Yes.
And now we want to finish the Turkish session of our workshop.
There is one minor point I want to raise and I want to share.
Before that, we will give voice to the participants from other universities, like Professor Aysan, from our colleagues from Medipol University, and I cannot see the colleagues from Çanakkale is not here. He left Süleyman Demirel University. Professor Saraç. Hocam bakmasaydınız keşke. Okay.
I refer to their work.
Olur. Sizden çok kısa birkaç dakika ne yapmaya çalışıyorsunuz onu dinlemek isteyeceğiz. Buyurun.
There is one problem with the hierarchy of the courses. We always, of course, the architecture also normally considers the hierarchy of the courses. You have to follow a certain step. You have to go step by step. It's like building a building. But unfortunately, especially in our PhD programs or master's programs, we cannot strictly follow this hierarchy. This is an important problem I want to share with you. I don't know whether because of the time limitation, students want to graduate, in a two-year period. So that is a problem. I don't know whether this is the same problem in Malaysia.
Because you may also get, especially at master's level, you may get students coming from different backgrounds also. So then you have another problem, the level, and then which courses come first.
Can I just ask one small question?
Yeah, please.
What is the maximum credit hours that lecturers teach in a week?
There is no maximum. There is minimum in Turkey.
What's the minimum?
Minimum is 12, for example, for us. I'm teaching 12.
Okay.
I don't want.
It depends on university, but in public universities it is 10 hours.
10 hours.
10 hours?
10 hours, minimum.
And for private 12.
There is a minimax principle in Turkish universities. Maximum is the minimum for many times.
You have 18 or what? No?
Yeah, after, I think not. It is.
But there must be.
It's around, I think. Average is, I think, 18 or 20.
After 10 hours, there's a payment. Until 10 hours, there's no extra payment.
Yeah.
For us, it's 12.
Yes,
About 12.
After 12, you get paid extra.
Sorry, I want to ask about the students' credit hours. How many hours for graduation? 125.
Total.
How many credits? Not hours.
Not ours. Credits.
You don't have.
No, not ours. Only credits. 240 credits. They have to.
European credit, but it is European credit.
European credit?
Yeah, transfer system. Turkey is using European credit transfer system, and the European credits is different than the hours.
Yes.
Okay.
It's sometimes same with the hours, but sometimes it's
Mostly different. Mostly different.
Mostly different.
And 240 European credit should be offered to students for graduation.
European credit.
European credit, yeah. For example, at 3 hours.
American credit hours is
For example, a 3 hours course. Maybe 10 European credit or 20 European credit.
Depends on the
Depends on the coursework.
The time you spend.
There is a special calculation system of the European
credit.
credit.
It's a good answer you give, because all of us were looking at it from a different glass.
So your credit hour, credit is something like our what? SLT. What is it? Student learning time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
The time spent in the classroom.
Preparing and doing this and that. Okay.
Professor Aysan, and you may tell us about the maybe future of the future challenge in the mainstream economics and
former central banker.
and what are you planning to overcome that problems?
Original academic. Thank you very much, first of all, for all the presentations. I greatly appreciate, because we are just establishing an economics department at Istanbul Şehir University. Istanbul Şehir University is relatively a new university. It's about 10 years old, but the economics department has not been established so far. Last April, we applied, and it has been accepted by the higher authority that we can open up economics departments. Inshallah, this year we start getting new students. We have 35 new students, inshallah, coming for the next year. Inshallah, if we fill all the quotas. So that's why I greatly appreciate how we should proceed in Islamic finance, because we have some prominent faculty working on Islamic finance related issues in the past. For example, we have Cengiz Kallek. He also worked at International Islam University in Malaysia. We have Mustafa Özel, for example. He is a prominent figure in Turkey working on economics in general, recently on literature and economics. But he has certain ideas about, not specific on Islamic economics, but he's quite well-known figure, especially in his community, especially with his studies in 1990s on Islam and economists, let's say in general, not Islamic economics per se, but Islam and economics. Inshallah, we have some papers, especially on applied economics, applied banking. And that's why today I greatly benefit from the discussions, because that is the thing that we right now start discussing. Recently, Cengiz Hoca has actually agreed to give a course on Islamic economics and finance. Inshallah, he will give an elective course, because we are just getting our students, so we don't have the students yet. So he will provide a course for the management department or the other departments. It will be an elective course. So I hope it will be a good start. But we have certain concerns that if you offer a graduate level courses or graduate degrees, there are universities, as you heard today, that we are not sure about there is enough demand from the sector side. And definitely most of the students are actually who would like to work on Islamic finance or even do their PhDs because of their devotion. It's not just about the professional reasons, it's mostly related with the life perspective that students have. But we should be even more careful about those students, because when they complete the programs, if they don't find the jobs, I agree that they can be good husbands, they can be good wife, but probably
I am not sure about that.
After 4 or 5 years later, they shouldn't be accusing their professors that we show too much of an ideal work to them, and then all of a sudden when they face with the reality, they shouldn't be accusing of their professors. And we are living in Turkey, so we are even discussing that what might happen to the future if they get such a degree. Those sort of questions are around. So that's why I guess our perspective will be to offer some Islamic finance courses, Islamic economics courses, and over time to see if there is enough demand, we might offer some graduate courses initially. And I'm not sure about the undergrad graduate program yet. But one thing missing probably is, Professor Hafsa has mentioned actually, recently, for example, we have a student, she studied in Italy, she did her MA there, and then she wanted to continue in Turkey. But I talked with Mehmet Hoca, the day I guess I talked with you, that we don't have the English PhD program. That is something that we should make it more international. We should make it more competitive for sure. And one contribution we may make is probably we are planning to organize some workshops, small workshops, not very big ones, but my field of expertise is mostly on banking. At the center, when we organize 2 conferences, for example, in these conferences, we have invited especially international scholars, and most of those international scholars are not actually just working on Islamic finance, but they are quite big names, but they also do some Islamic finance related papers. We have to also encourage them to work on more on Islamic finance, because if they work more on Islamic finance will be more in mainstream.
Yeah.
It will be considered as a part of like feminist economics, like environmental economics, some sort of a sub-discipline in mainstream economics. We should also achieve this because otherwise the market is too narrow, and we know it from even in Malaysia probably. Even when we consider the Gulf countries and others, when we make the market bigger, the quality will improve. Inshallah, our initial plan is to organize some small workshops with probably with the good special issues. For example, recently in Saudi Arabia there is going to be a conference, probably you heard of it, in Islamic banking and finance. Then they are going to have a special issue in Journal of Corporate Finance, which is a good thing, because Journal of Corporate Finance is a A-star journal, and if there are more Islamic finance papers published there, this will improve the academic quality, this will improve the international scholars to also work on these issues. As a minor contribution, probably we would like to start from those perspectives. We will offer a certain number of courses in general, in economics department, also to all the other departments to be elected. And over time, inshallah, we will see. Probably we are also planning to offer Economics and Finance Master Program, and in that program we may offer the students some courses, and also we may ask them, we may encourage them to write thesis on Islamic finance, inshallah. And thank you very much again for
sorry, I just clarify. You say it is a department.
Yes.
In which faculty?
It is under the management faculty. It is under the business school, let's say.
Okay. So your degree is a bachelor?
BA.
BA.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. And our colleagues from Medipol University, they have an intention for the Islamic economics.
I'm very happy to be here.
May you first introduce yourself?
Ümit Hacıoğlu from Istanbul Medical University. Our faculty has been recently established, I think, two years earlier, management and business and management faculty. And we have conventional programs of the economics and finance, and we know that, we realize that we have to do many things to establish modern Islamic finance studies. But I would like to contribute this meeting that we have a scholarly publishing venue. We have a center for the studies of finance and business. We have many editorial books published by Schipringer and I.J. Global. And these are the chapters, contributor chapters are indexed by Scopus. And we have journals, 3 journals from, we are publishing the articles from management to finance. If you have studies, we may offer you some new publication opportunities, special issues or the editorial books. We have good ties with the international publishers. You know, in Turkey we have lack of academic research in Islamic finance and especially participation banking. So if we offer new book proposals, so we may have ties and we may publish your books. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Our colleagues from Süleyman Demirel University, as I know, they have a program, MA program for applied for Islamic economics and finance. Maybe you may tell us more about the studies in your university.
I'm Musa Üstü from Süleyman Demirel University. We just applied to open undergraduate and graduate school in Faculty of Business. We have good intention and we intend to do balanced program, Islamic and practical side, both theoretic economics and practical side of banking. And we also want to focus on insurance also. But these are intentions. So I'm here to get information from all of you to build a stable and good department. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is it Sparta? Isn't it? Süleyman Demirel University is in Sparta, another province of Turkey.
The city of Rose.
Yeah. Known for its name in Rose.
Yeah.
Sparta is in the history.
İnternet var ama sizden çok kısa bilgi alacağız eğer şeyse. Ahmet Hocam siz tercüme eder misiniz?
Biz önce lisans programı açmayı düşündük. İslam İktisadi Finansı diye.
They would like the person to do some undergraduate program in Islam.
Türkiye'de örneği olmadığı için İslam İktisadi ve Hukukunda yüksek lisans programı açtık.
Since there is no example in Turkey, probably there might be, but they
at that date, I think.
İslam İktisadi ve Hukuku.
They open a
bir yıl önce geçen
graduate program in Islamic law and economics.
Geçen yıl 5 öğrencimiz geldi.
There were 5 students last year.
Bu sene 8 öğrenci alacağız.
8 students this year.
Geçen yıl biz Malezya'ya gitmeyi düşündük. Öğrencilerimizle beraber bir proje hazırladık hatta.
They thought of going to Malaysia to visit the university.
Yalnız Malezya'nın fen bilimleri enstitüsüyle anlaşması olup sosyal bilimler enstitüsü olmadığı için gidemedik hocam.
But they couldn't for several reasons.
Bilmiyorum Üniversitesi'yle şeyi yapsınlar hocam.
Dr. Jun, they are looking for MOU.
İnşallah.
The prince of MOUs.
Öğrencilerimiz çok başarılı öğrenciler. Bu yüksek lisans bölümündeki öğrenciler. Hatta bu sene 2-3 bildiride bulundular. Makaleleri çıktı. Daha birinci yıllar olmasına rağmen.
So they are very successful students. They are presenting, they are preparing papers. Inshallah, they are very hopeful.
İnşallah.
Inshallah.
Bingöl is a province in eastern part of Turkey.
Bingöl.
Bingöl. B-I-N means thousand.
Thousand lake.
Göl means lake. Thousand lakes.
Oh, lakes. Sounds very nice.
Lake. Yeah.
But there aren't like.
Probably very
Başka peki, are you in theology or in law yourself?
Benim alanım.
Yeah.
Islamic Finance.
Yani hukukçu musun?
Ben
Hafsa hocam.
muhasebe finansman.
Ha.
Accounting and Finance. Islamic Finance.
Okay. The discipline you mentioned is under which faculty?
Interdisciplinary.
Interdisciplinary.
Law and
law, theology.
Yani
business.
işletme, hukuk,
Ama
ilahiyat.
işletme altında.
Tabii, sosyal öğrenci altında.
Under social science.
For
doktorasını 2 yıl içerisinde açacağız.
Brothers and sisters, in Turkey, for postgraduate studies, each and every university should have 2 or maybe 3 institutes. Institute of Social Sciences, Masters and PhD in Social Sciences, Institute of what can we say? Science. Positive sciences like engineering, chemistry, etc. And for one medicine. They have Institute of Social Sciences for postgraduate studies, and this program he mentions is under that Institute of Social Science.
But the graduate programs is mostly tied with a department.
Yeah.
For example, in Istanbul University, it is tied with Faculty of Theology and the Department of Economics also. They are under Social Science Institute, but should be related with a special program.
Ana bilim dallarıyla bağlantılı.
Some interdisciplinary programs is related many programs.
İslam, iktisadi ve hukuku ana bilim dalı açılır.
Yeah, should be in that way.
It is a domain.
Yeah, it's a domain.
Called Islamic law and
economics.
Islamic economics. There's a domain like that under the social and under Social Sciences Institute.
Interdisciplinary.
Hocam teşekkür ediyoruz. Çok sağ olun. Now, if you do not have a special special comment on this issue, I want to start the Malaysian part of our workshop. And in our program, Professor Zuljastri is the first one, but Professor Aslam, if you do not have a hierarchy in your presentations, I want to make a positive discrimination toward our sisters. Is it possible?
Well, if I can just maybe introduce and then we can give the sisters
okay, yeah.
to present.
We may do that.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Firstly, I know it's already half the day and you already know everybody here, but I need to also convey the salams of Associate Professor Dr. Said Musa Al-Habshi, who is with ICFI, International Council of Islamic Finance Educators. He could not be with us today, and I think many of the things that we are talking about in terms of curriculum, especially the domain and so on, is actually ideas that are coming. He's leading the discussion, so he conveys salam to everybody. Inshallah, we will have opportunity to meet in another occasion, if not here in Kuala Lumpur. Thank you, Dr. Lutfi. We have had many emails, and it's good to finally meet you. And thank you for the invitation to come here. Thank you also to Dr. Najdat, our colleague of almost 30 years now.
30 years.
So we've known each other for a long time.
1994, 95, 96.
Yes, it's incredible. So long time ago, and so it's wonderful to have him with us.
You seem younger.
Who?
You.
That's why I don't like that. When I introduce them, then the age people start calculating. You know how?
You were junior at that time. Just PhD.
Yes,
PhD. He was back from United States.
UK. So thank you, Dr. Najdat. Also the colleagues from our Malaysian team and brothers and sisters from the various universities in Turkey. I also want to make special mention to our chief information officer, Dr. Zul Jasri, because if not for him, I think it would be very difficult for us to come to this stage. So really,
King of communication.
Special appreciation to Dr. Zul for his hard work to bring this session together.
Appreciate.
What I hope we will do is we will, since Prof. Najdat has already made presentation a little bit on MIFA, so we may just allow very brief discussion on MIFA. There could be some areas that Prof. Roslin would like to highlight. And then I would like to spend a little bit of time talking about the talent side, which I think was an issue raised by everybody. In other words, the human resource.
Yeah, exactly.
All of us, basically. And then I would just invite maybe Prof. Malia, as the Dean of the Kuliah of Economics, to say something about the different institutes that we have and how they are connected, before we then maybe open for general Q&A. Yeah, so if we have the slides, oh, it's there with you?
Yeah, with me.
Yeah. So I will just invite Prof. Roslin, who is maybe the main, you could say, contributor to the report. She did the program while you're setting up. MIFA covers 3 areas.
Really final.
One is program, secondly is curriculum, and the third is talent. So maybe, Prof. Roslin, if you have something to say, please.
Açtınız mı?
It's okay.
Yeah, but it doesn't appear here.
Which one is okay? Yeah, this one.
So which one?
The F5.
Alright, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Prof. Aslam, for the introduction. Although Prof. Aslam, highlighted my contribution, I think I should not be taking the credit because the data is being collected by our representatives or fellows from 14 universities in Malaysia. So the data is the data which have been verified and corroborated by our own fellows representing each university. So my presentation today will be focusing on what hopefully have not been focused on based on the discussion that we have had this morning. Okay, the report, if I can highlight, is divided into 3 parts. One is the programs, looking also into the programs offered, highlighting on the supply and demand part, and of course the talent, and finally the curriculum. For the programs, we also touched on the employability issues. These are the participating universities. Basically, we had few objectives. And I'm just going to, I think this one Prof. Najdat has already highlighted. I'm just going to go to the diagrams, the graphs or the illustrations. So out of the 90, we have in Malaysia, we have 95 programs offered, where 84 programs are being offered by public universities, and we have 11 programs being offered by private universities. And also, if I can also highlight, based on ICP domains, of course, based on this, we have Islamic finance seems to be the popular one, and Islamic accounting is not the so popular one or the least popular one, at least in the case of Malaysia. for both the undergraduate programs as well as the postgraduate programs. Then when we talk about the domains, based on the programs, master's program, which is a mixed mode, both coursework and dissertation, and of course masters by research, and of course the programs offered under master's program is of course more popular compared to the ones which are being offered under PhD program. With regards to, I just would like to now, the graduates, we have graduates mostly, of course, we offer more Islamic finance programs, and we have graduates graduating from Islamic finance programs as well. And just to share with you some, feedback based on the employers' feedback. So looking at the data there, yes, we have all above average, but it's all negative. That means we need to do a bit more. We need to do more in order to make sure that we meet the demand of the employers or the people in the industry, to meet the demands of the industry. So we are okay, especially in terms of the Malay language. So the rest, I think we need to focus on we need to further improve. Although we are okay, but we need to further improve because of the negative gaps.
Is this total number or average number?
Pardon me?
Is this total number or average number?
This is the total number.
Total number.
Yes.
Professor,
yes.
How many employees?
We did the we called. We're talking about employees or the employers?
This is based on the survey, right?
Yeah, this is based on the survey.
How many?
About 176. 100. So again, this is the first report that we have come up with in Malaysia. Basically, looking into the landscape of Islamic finance education. We're not saying that this is, this is the best report, but this is the first report, and we're going to improve on it, every year, inshallah, and updating this information.
Is there a special scale for this? For example, 5.29. How do you measure this?
Out of how many? Yeah.
We have 1 up till 7.
So it's a Likert scale.
Yes, there's a Likert scale. That's why we have the 5.29, 5.16, So it's up till 7. So the ones which are above, we have in fact here in the report we have our scale according to the different colors. Which if I can later, I think Dr. Kamala will also be sharing some of our micro reports. But we have a few that we can share.
Is there enough wording for 7 level in Malayan language?
Pardon me?
Sure. Everybody was conducted in English, right?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was
in English.
Yes,
it's possible.
Yes, it was conducted in English.
Because in Turkish, there is it's not possible to use Likert. It's 5. Because of language, we do not have enough wording for different situations.
I'm not sure in Malay. We have never conducted in Malay, but in English,
so we have conducted in English, yes.
In Malay, you can have 7. If you do the scale, you can put 7, 1 to 7.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
Some do it 1 to 10.
1 to 10, maybe.
But I think so far the common ones will be 5 and 7. 5 and 7, right? All right. This is the based on approaches, which I think I would like to highlight this. We have different categorization of programs. Sometimes there are programs which we refer to stand-alone approach, which I'll be sharing with you some examples. And we also have specialization approach. So we have levels of programs based on ICF domains. We also have the, we have the diploma, degree, and of course the postgraduate. So this report is based on diploma, upwards diploma, degree, master's, PhD. So all these programs, and we're not catering for the ones which is below diploma. So the next one is that just to share with you, these are the list of programs of diploma and bachelor by institutions. If you look at the name of the, the names of the programs, we have diploma in Islamic banking, we have bachelor in Islamic finance in bracket or specialization, banking. So as you can see, if it is Islamic finance, it is supposed to be Islamic banking and finance, and therefore we call it a stand-alone approach. So bachelor in Islamic finance, this is takaful. So these are the categorizations that we have done based on whether it is a stand-alone or whether it is a specialization or whether it's a combination. If it is, for example, if I can share with you, let me just. Okay, this is more of specialization, number 29, Bachelor of Business Administration, Islamic Finance. So this is the conventional Bachelor of Business Administration, but in bracket, it is Islamic Finance. So as you can see, there are various, names of the programs that are being offered in Malaysia. The next, which I'm going to highlight here, is also the curriculum development initiatives. This is focusing on the curriculum. Okay, the purpose of the module development was to serve as the references that would be used in the continuous education program. I'm just going to go through the final part, where we have surveyed on the postgraduate programs, and we also have, as you can see, we have formalized and articulated an Islamic economics finance curriculum framework to mutually recognize comparative international standards. This is what we are we're working on and improving, and propose the best practices across jurisdictions, and in order to harmonize and promote development of global Islamic finance education. So at this juncture, this report is basically a landscape, not yet harmonizing. So perhaps later we can also be focusing on harmonizing. Harmonizing is a level above just looking into the landscape. I think I'll just call upon Prof. Aslam to continue with the talent.
I just want to also mention, although let's say in my case, I'm also at the Kuliah of Economics. But today I'm wearing, at least I'm representing the group wearing the hat of International Council of Islamic Finance Educators. So maybe I just invite Prof. Malia, because I think in IIUM and in Malaysia, because we have probably had a longer history of Islamic economics and finance, sometimes in one institution you can have 2, 3, 4 different departments, centers focusing on Islamic economics, Islamic banking, finance. So maybe Prof. Malia may want to just, at least for the case of IIUM, and Prof. Rosli may also talk about the University Utara Malaysia example, where there is also more than one faculty. So this is important, I think, when we want to talk about academics. Prof. Malia.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for the opportunity to explain about our kuliah. Now, our kuliah of economics and management sciences actually has 4 departments. But what is interesting is that we used to have International Islamic Institute of Islam, International Institute for Islamic Banking and Finance. So that was actually developed.
If you need Turkish, I may help you.
And now it has become autonomous. So this is just like a prodigal son, but dissociating with us. So we have Islamic Banking and Finance, and that institute actually handles all our postgraduate programs. So the undergraduate program, that is Bachelor of Islamic Finance, is actually handled by Economics and Management Sciences. And then on top of that, we have the Center for Islamic Economics, which is part of us. So basically, IIBF, CIE, and the KNMS, we are working together to actually bring Islamic economics and finance to a higher level. So we work together, and ICFA is actually, it is part of us primarily because they have an office with us. We have given them an office, which they haven't paid the rent for. So we have an office there for them, And because most of our Kuliah of economics staff are actually wearing two hats, like Prof. Mustafa Muhammad, Prof. Aslam Hanif, Dr. Zul, and maybe even the Associate Professor Syed Musa is also from our Kuliah. So that's why our relationship is very strong. And now that Syed Musa is also the Dean of Islamic Banking and Finance and President of ICFA, so our bond is stronger, yeah, between ICFA and Kuliah of Economics and Management Sciences. But we would like to put it on record that all these actually came from Kuliah of Economics and Management Sciences. I think Prof. Aslam can explain. Thank you very much.
Prof. Roslin, anything about University Utara, Malaysia you want to...
Alright, okay, I am representing the University Utara Malaysia. I'm the only one, the non-IIUM. So, okay.
Formerly IIUM as well.
A major part of me. Alright, okay. At the University Utara, we have Islamic Business School. If I can just do a bit of marketing here, Islamic Business School is the first Islamic Business School being accredited by AACSB. And under Islamic Business School, Prof, we also have Institute of Sharia Governance and Islamic Finance, which I am the director. So, so this is the area that we focus on, Islamic Banking and Finance. So, of course, under Islamic Business School, we have Islamic Management. We have, we do not have Islamic Accounting and Islamic Business School. We have Islamic Management, we have Islamic Banking and Finance, and Islamic Economics not yet.
Okay. Unfortunately. So, I think what I wanted to share with this is actually, if you go back historically, late 1970s, you had the starting of this interest in Islamic economics in Malaysia. And there were a couple of universities like University Malaya that introduced electives. Okay, so where maybe you are today, we were there in the late 70s, and then in 1983, IIUM was established, and I think that is where the focus of Islamic economics, Islamic banking, finance actually took root. Now, what is very interesting about our programs is we don't call our degrees, except for Islamic finance, all our degrees are just Bachelor of Accounting, Bachelor of Business Administration, Bachelor of Economics. Because the university is already a university that has the philosophy of Islamic education. So we are able to do that. But in UUM, they have to have, or at least they chose to have, Islamic Business School. All right. Similarly, in other universities, sometimes this nomenclature, the question that you raised, is important because the university as such is not necessarily an Islamic university. Yeah. So I think one important point that we found in our research is when the university is an Islamic university, you have a lot of flexibility to move. Yeah. In terms of nomenclature, you don't need to call your degree Islamic anymore. Yeah. Let alone Department of Islamic Economics, because your university itself. So I'm not sure in the Turkish context.
If your state is Islamic, like Iran, they do not call anything as Islamic.
Yes, okay.
Because their state is Islamic.
They say everything is Islamic. Yeah? But again, I think we in our profession as academics, we actually have to go and look into the substance. It doesn't mean because our university says we are Islamic university that we should just be happy. We have to look and see what we are teaching, right? We have to go into content. So this is more important. And I think this nomenclature issue will come up later. Now what I want to focus is about the talent. And I really believe everything that we have been discussing today boils down to all of us in this room. Whether it's curriculum, whether it is program, what you are going to teach, we are going to be the ones that make it happen or don't make it happen, right? At least we have our own knowledge. So this part of the project that we were doing, which by the way comes from a project that was financed by the government of Malaysia to look at Islamic finance education. And this entry point project 7 had the academic side as well as the industry side. So industry education and training, our Central Bank of Malaysia was leading. When it came to the academic side, IIUM was asked to lead it. But here is where maybe I hope you will be successful in Turkey. We are able to bring together about 20 universities to come together under this project, Entry Point Project 7, leading to the establishment of ICFI, International Council of Islamic Finance Educators. So it's not an IIUM project, although the secretariat is in IIUM. I think we've been able, with the support of all our colleagues from these 18 or 19 universities, to establish this ICFI. Yeah, so I think in Turkey you need to figure out how you are going to work together, because really I don't think it's possible to do it alone. It must be together. Now, what did our talent initiative focus on? We wanted to see the teachers. Yeah? Who are the teachers of Islamic economics? And so this presentation will just share some findings of the talent initiative. And generally speaking, it is talking about the quantity of the talent. Yeah? Quality issues, I think we need to have separate discussion point. And I also want to stress that when we did this work, we were keeping in mind something that some of you may be familiar, the Islamization of knowledge agenda. Yeah? We do believe that it is possible for us to have Bachelor of Economics with an Islamic input in it. Yeah? Rather than only focusing on a totally new faculty or department or course called Islamic economics. It's possible for universities that have economics program to include Islamic economics into it. Yeah? So that's in a way the basis. 3 parts, and again I have to congratulate our Dr. Hafsa. Database development, who are our academics, and then once we know who our academics are, we have to start giving education, continuous education, because some of us are trained in Sharia, we know nothing about maybe accounting. Others, we may have economics background, we know nothing about Sharia. So there is a need for us to keep improving our level of knowledge. Yeah? So this is what we wanted to do. So we focused on number 1, and Alhamdulillah, the data that I will be sharing with you is basically number 1. We are now moving to number 3. Yeah. Number 2, we've got a few modules, which I think in this little booklet that you have, we have got about 11 or 12 modules that we have ready. And we hope to actually start conducting these programs for our fellow academics. Okay, now, as of October 2016, 19 higher education institutions in Malaysia have a total of 402 academics who describe themselves, because you present yourself, what is your specialization or what is your area of specialization. They presented themselves in the following, in these 5 domains. Now somebody asked in the report, I think Prof. Najdat, you asked, there's the 6th one, quantitative techniques. We may even add a 7th one, Turath al-Islami. So not only do you need to talk about fiqh and usul fiqh, but you also need to talk about things relating to Islamic heritage, Islamic legacy, that is wider than just fiqh and usul fiqh. Right? And then there may also be like your course on Ataturk's, Principles. This will be your national requirement, right? You can't avoid it. But for this project, we focused on 1 to 5. Okay, we didn't include the academics who are teaching quantitative techniques for Islamic finance, for example, because it's very difficult to separate. I teach quantitative techniques, whether it's for Islamic finance or finance, I'm teaching quantitative techniques. So we left that out. We didn't put. So we just focus on 1 to 5. All right? Now, let me ask all of you. If our degree is called Islamic banking or Islamic finance, then which domain should be the majority in your degree? Okay?
It may depend on university, from university to university, maybe.
But if you call your degree Islamic banking and finance, what should your degree be? What should be the majority component of your curriculum? It should be banking and finance, right? I mean, if your degree is called Islamic banking finance, at least when you look at how you should present to the authorities, they will say 50% must be in the major, right? 45 to 50% should be in your major. So if your degree is called Islamic banking, we would assume that about 50% of your degree should be Islamic banking. And all the other domains, the economics, the management, the accounting, the Sharia and law, 10 to 15%. It may vary. It may vary depending on but that should be it. So the curriculum structure should predominantly be Islamic banking finance. All right? And now from the discussions that we heard, Marmara University, we heard a few others, you can see how it will vary. So the product that you are producing at the end of the day will differ significantly, right? So what we did, we looked at curriculum requirements and we compare with our academics. Okay? So this is what...
you have mentioned before, also included in the report, there are some terminology. Stand-alone, specialization.
Yes.
Can you make a clarification about if it is stand-alone and if it is specialization? What does it differ?
See, what we mean by specialization is sometimes you can have a BBA degree, but specialization in Islamic banking finance. That will be a very different orientation than a Bachelor of Islamic Finance or Bachelor of Islamic Banking Finance, right? So a BBA, the domain should be business administration, because Islamic banking finance is just a specialization. Now that definition of specialization may vary. 4 courses, 5 courses, 8 courses, 10 courses, I don't know, that may differ from country to country, even university to university, right? So, but we are referring now just to the Islamic finance.
Stand-alone?
Yes, this stand-alone, okay.
This is stand-alone.
Right? So if it is a Bachelor Islamic Finance, for example, 50% should be banking and finance. 10 to 15% in Sharia, 10 to 15% economics. So this is the breakdown of curriculum. So if we have 120 credit hours to graduate, about 60 credit hours should be banking and finance. Should be around this, right? Okay, now let's just look and compare with the academics that we have. And this, I think, is quite surprising find, at least for me. It doesn't include everyone. I can't get the...
Banking and finance courses both include conventional and non-conventional
yes.
finance?
Yes.
Mostly conventional, I think.
This is where I suppose the quality of the lecturers become important.
Why?
Because they will be the one that try to introduce Islamic inputs into the course. Right? Okay. 402. Actually, I wanted to skip this one because... Okay, it's fine. Look at the domains. We said just now curriculum, 50% should be banking finance. Just look at the number. The biggest number is actually not in banking finance. It's actually in Sharia and law. So you got curriculum that says Sharia and law should be about 15% of your curriculum. And yet we've got 110. The biggest number of our academics are
more
in
than
this.
Enough, huh?
More than enough. So this fine to me leads to another question. What are we teaching in the banking and finance program? What does the industry want? What do the bankers want? And what are we teaching? So one of the things that we did get from our response is sometimes Islamic finance graduate, they don't know enough finance.
Good in Sharia, but not...
Yeah. But even if they're good in Sharia, they cannot be on the Sharia board. Because you only need 3 people on the Sharia board.
Yeah.
Right? So what are we producing? What are we producing? Right? So I think this just tells you that we need to improve the knowledge of our academics. So all these people who are in Sharia and law, academics, they need to have exposure to economics, to Sharia, to accounting, to management, etc. Yeah, we need to be able to do that. So are there too many in Sharia and law? Curriculum just needs 10 to 15%, but we have at the moment 28. Not only 28%, this number is also misleading. Why? When I went into the Sharia and law people, 110. When I went into the banking and finance people, 97. So somebody has introduced himself, specialization, banking and finance, or Islamic banking finance. You go to the qualifications, actually their first degree is in Sharia and law. Second degree also in Sharia and law. Then they go to UK, do a PhD thesis in one university on Sharia banking law. They come back and introduce themselves as Islamic banking and finance specialization, when actually they are in Sharia and law. So the number 97 is not really 97. It's smaller. And the 110 is not 110, it is bigger. Okay, so our estimate is almost 40% of the academics.
Yeah. So do you have also a statistics based on the real qualification? I mean, instead of statement.
Right. So what we did CVs. Out of the 402, we've collected all the CVs, and I would think that this is also you need to do in Turkey. You need to try and get people to submit their CVs in a certain template to you. And not only you rely on what I say. Yeah, I'm expert in Islamic banking. You have to check my education background, my publications, my research.
The result is 0 for Turkey.
I don't know.
You haven't done such a...
So what we did, in our case, that 402, we received the CVs. People represent themselves like this. Randomly, we went through about 10 to 20 of them, and I found about 30% will not qualify to be banking finance. So they should actually be in Sharia law. But we've not done this. It's very sensitive, when you want to change somebody who says they are specialization Islamic banking, when you want to tell them no, you are not. You are actually in Sharia and law. It's a very sensitive thing, especially if they are in the industry and they are experts and they are being referred to, right? So we have to handle it in a. Now, what is important here is the good thing about our 402. Majority of them are young staff, assistant professor and lecturers. So there is still time for us to give them training, give them education. The older ones, I think, may be difficult. You cannot ask the professor now to go and attend introduction to maybe. But the good thing is majority are younger staff, and I'm sure in Turkey you will also find the same thing from the younger ones. Yeah, so you can actually plan proper programs for them. So those who are coming out from the Sharia background, get them to come to this continuous education program, to the training program, so that they improve themselves. We can retrain some. We can send younger ones to do cross-discipline programs. So from Bill Gould University, is it? You may school of. You said it was an interdisciplinary. Yeah, this may be something. Send our younger staff to other institutions in Muslim countries who have expertise, rather than sending overly to the West to do Islamic economics and finance. This is sometimes not easy. I think in the Muslim world, a lot of us, we want to go to America, we want to go to Europe to do our PhD. There is valid reason for this, but maybe we should also start looking at each other. So we need to send our students, to Turkey. You need to send students to Malaysia, and so on. Something like this. Modules, I will skip this. These are the list of modules that we have in Sharia and law, Islamic economics, accounting, management, and marketing. Yeah? So we hope to be able to start conducting continuous education programs. And I think this is where, if, let's say, in Turkey there is interest for this, you may need to conduct this program for your staff. Yeah? And if there is any way that...
Also in Turkey, each and every university should have a continuous education program.
Yep.
We call it Center for Continuous Education.
But this is for the talent.
Lifelong learning.
Yeah,
but this is usually for outsiders, right?
Yes, not giving degree. Yes. No degree. Only courses for outsiders, for helping to the industry.
But this is industry. I'm talking about for academics. The challenge is, once you receive your PhD, we think we know everything. So telling the PhD...
Is continuous is for academics.
For academics.
This is different, yes.
So that somebody who has got Sharia background will also get exposure to management, marketing, etc. And how to do it? I think you need to design your system as such that there can be some incentives to make academics go for these programs. It's not easy. This is a very tough one. I think Dr. Zul may
study.
Yeah, Dr. Zul will maybe share with you some of the problems that we have in ICF.
Unending education.
Trying to get lecturers to attend further education, not easy. Easier to get industry people to attend, but lecturers not easy. Yeah. Can we have regional and international continuous education programs? I think this is a tough target. Yeah. Way forward, MIFA, I think we've already heard enough. So thank you very much. Can I just call Dr. Zul?
Yeah.
Maybe please present something on ICF, because this is what.
I need some clarification about the terminology.
Yes.
For curriculum, you use domain,
you
use discipline, you use course, and program.
Yeah.
Can you give a brief?
The most difficult one is domain and discipline, because sometimes the domain will be the discipline.
How do you...
Economics is a discipline; it's also a domain, right? So they may be
But you
overlapping.
use interchangeably, or
we need to speak to Dr. Said Musa, because he is the one who came up with this domain based.
But I think in the report it has been used
interchangeably.
It is not clear in the
So domain and discipline probably overlap.
Yeah, I think we should take note.
Yeah, we will take note.
Also, you are criticizing the standard of Malaysian Qualification Agency, but the thing you propose is not so different than the standard. You only change body with domain.
Yeah.
It is very simple.
Yeah.
This I hope Dr. Said Musa will be able to explain, because he did that thing. But course is very simple. In a discipline you have different courses.
Yeah.
But domain and discipline, I think they overlap. Except that in our case, our domain, we call it Sharia and law. Right? Whereas the discipline, maybe Sharia could be separate, law could be separate. Possible. Management and marketing. Marketing.
There is program.
Yeah,
program is there is domain.
Yes.
Or discipline.
Yes.
And under it there is
courses.
Yes. Like this.
Okay. Yeah. There are a common critique towards Malaysian school, that is financialization of Islamic economics. And in your programs, as I see, there is a special focus on finance education. Yes. And mostly, for example, your schools, your programs is called Islamic Finance and Economics, or only Islamic finance. what do you think about this financialization? Because the lack of theory, a lack of history may affect your programs.
This is a very unique problem to Malaysia. I don't know how we ended up.
What do you think about that? Because in your report there is no special focus for this.
This is where we have been trying to convince the powers that be in Malaysia that we have to unite the disciplines. And so we even proposed Islamic economics and finance. Right? But in Malaysia, Islamic finance is moving at a very, very fast pace. I'm happy in Turkey you give emphasis to economics and finance. At least name-wise. And it's also the same in the Middle East. When they talk about Islamic finance, usually it will be under Iqtisad Islami, Islamic economics, right? It is very unique to Malaysia. I cannot explain it. Only in Malaysia, Islamic finance is there without economics. So we are hoping to, maybe we will get your support from Turkey, from Middle East, to make our people there more open to economics and finance.
We will remind all of the Malaysians when we see them.
Professor, is it also related with the Islamization of the knowledge idea? Because Islamization of the knowledge idea is going back to even the establishment of the International University, International Islamic University. And we know that this Islamization of the knowledge idea has changed.
Yes.
It also, in terms of political reflections, also it has changed. I'm sure that, as far as I see, also Malaysia is also changing in the last 20 years. And even after East Asian crisis, the perspective to approach the Islamic economics and finance is changing. How do you see it? This still this Islamization of knowledge idea, because this is also, I guess, related with the Professor Lutfi's question that Islamic finance is heading because probably we do not give enough importance to Islamization of the knowledge idea as before. So how do you relate this?
In the late 70s, when this idea of Islamization of knowledge was first, popularized.
Triple IT.
And Triple IT, and of course in Malaysia also we have our own Professor Alatas in ISTAC that promoted. I think the environment at that time was very much supportive of the idea of Islamization. However, fast forward 2 decades or 3 decades, with all the things that are happening internationally, and Islam is also being seen in a very, let's say, negative way. So this word Islamization sometimes can give negative views to people. And that is why when we say IOK, Alhamdulillah, we can also say integration of knowledge. So the I, if we feel that Islamization is not the right word to use, integration of knowledge. But I think the idea is very clear. We want to look at what we teach in universities, in Faculty of Economics in Istanbul University, microeconomics. We want to critically evaluate this from Islamic perspective. This is what is meant by Islamization of knowledge, because what we are teaching is not representing our Islamic worldview, right? So this is what it is. So if you feel that you cannot use the term Islamization, no problem. Call it integration of knowledge. In fact, don't even call it anything, but do it, right? But do it.
That's probably the reason why Islamic finance is becoming more and more important. Because when you say Islamic finance, you don't have to discuss all those things. Islamization of economics, Islamization of there is a market, and whatever the market wants, so it's a more market-driven thing.
Yes, right.
So it's a great transformation in the sense that...
In fact, because of Islamic banking, Islamization of knowledge has got a bad name. Because everybody says, you see, Islamization of knowledge, what does it do? The bank just copies the conventional, change the name, Islamization. So Islamization of knowledge as an intellectual agenda has actually got bad press because of Islamic banking. So there is a need to give a correct understanding of what we want to do. We want to critically evaluate those bodies of knowledge from an Islamic perspective. So whatever you want to call it, that's what we want to do. Dr. Zul, please, your ICF, a few minutes maybe on ICF.
Thank you.
Yeah, please.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi. Let me try a bit of Turkish before I start. Merhabalar.
Merhabalar.
Benim adım.
Now there is Yunus Emre. He is student at Yunus Emre learning Turkish.
Benim adım Zuljastri. Nasılsınız? Benim oldum.
Siz de memnun olduk.
Okay, I'm the last speaker, but I just like to share that 1 year ago when I met Prof. Nasdaq, we were thinking what we can do for Islamic finance in Turkey. So what we did was, first of all, to set up that WhatsApp group. So today I think is what we are. Inshallah. Okay, I'll be very brief on this part. I have to say something because ISFI pay our tickets to come here. So aware, of course, Islamic finance now is widely established over 70 other countries, so including Turkey and everything. There's a high demand, okay, for education. ISFI is actually, it's in brief, International Council of Islamic Finance Educators, and our issue has been very discussed, especially the last two bold letters: curriculum, talent development, and accreditation. Okay, so I'll just skip on this. Our vision is to be set up Malaysia to be the premier global organization by providing dynamic leadership and so on. And basically, these are our objectives. We say actually, it's also our action plan. I hope maybe after lunch we can focus on more of this. One is to talk about curriculum, harmonization, conduct ISFI modules, accreditation, and compiling of databases, which Prof. Aslam has mentioned, and how we can organize a conference together. And the last one is research and publication. All right. Okay, these are the ESCO members. The former president is Prof. Khalid. Now, Prof. Khalid now is on sabbatical, so Dr. Syed Musa is now the president, and Prof. Nur Hayati actually is from UUM, where Prof. Roslin is, and actually most of you are from IIUM. Okay, Dr. Adam is from IIM, and then Dr. Rusni, and so on and so forth. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ESCO members, and they are specialized in various areas. Okay. A bit of the structure, and these activities very much the same as the objective just now. Right. So this has been mentioned, all right, many times. We have 6 domains: Islamic, economic, Sharia, and so on. And we have been set up, as mentioned, that under the EPP 7.
The last one is not included in the report.
Yeah.
Come to the
Oh yeah. Yeah, as I mentioned, that one is very
method.
yes.
Why not include it in the report?
It's very difficult to identify people who are only teaching quantitative methods for Islamic finance. They offer business math. Whether you are taking it for Islamic finance or for finance, it's the same. So in trying to put it, it's difficult to put them in. So we left them out in our discussion.
The quantitative is more on research.
You need to have,
to put a bit of a research component there. All right, as it's been discussed, the ISFI is the EPP7 initiative, and the government has given some fund to actually look into this issue of curriculum, right? So we have done a lot of it on it. Some curriculum report has been coming out from this initiative. These are the things that we do: identify, teaching, and we'll show later on. We'll show you our textbooks and our modules, right? Okay, in terms of talent, I think Prof. Aslam has mentioned This is, you have to set a baseline survey first. Maybe in Turkey, you would like to find out how many lecturers are teaching what subject and so on. And then there's also need to identify need-get analysis trading modules. Okay, this is our membership. As you can see, it's growing, divided into Malaysian and international. Okay, you can see the figure is growing, but 2007 is slightly low because it's only in June. Alright, but overall, there is, what do you call that? Overall, there's increasing in membership. Alright. Okay, we have two types of members. One, the institutional, this is Malaysian membership. We have from Crescent, is our own what you call that, institution in IIUM. And then we have the IUM Sharia Advisory Services, it's also part of a member. And then ICCE is actually continuing education. These are affiliate members. Alright. And for international, we have all these universities under us. Islamic University of Uganda, Nottingham University, and I purposely highlight two in the Turkish university which are part of our member. So part of the objective today is to encourage institutional member, and I think we have the application form. I think Dr. Kamala has already put it out there to become member, right? Institutional, we have first Istanbul Commerce University, Turkey, and Karatai Konya, and hopefully we'll have more of this at the end of the day. And okay, you may ask me what type of membership we have. Well, we have the ordinary member. These are academicians that are directly involved in teaching. That means if you are a lecturer, then you become ordinary member. But if you want not a teacher or a lecturer, but you want to be a member, then we classify you under associate member. Alright. The other type is, of course, if you join a professional organization, they become an honorary member.
Just before we skip to the
yeah,
we have also a new membership category, which is student members.
Affiliate member.
Yes. So we are more interested as ICF to have student members as a part of the continuous learning process. So we can collaborate with our students. Now we're also going to publish one bulletin once in 2 months. So we are
so the student can become affiliate member.
To be honest, student members.
Sorry, Dr. Zul.
Yeah.
Dr. Kamala is with us in ICF. My apologies, I should have introduced her. Besides Dr. Zul, she is also instrumental in organizing, this trip to Turkey. And she speaks the language better than Dr. Zul a little bit.
She's Turkish origin. She says Kamala, but Kamile, I say her.
Okay, this is very important in my selling. You ask me, what is the benefit to become a member? Okay, number one, professional recognition. Meaning that if you have already a professional accountant or working in a bank, then this ECT will add up some kind of add value to your work. Okay, I mean some kind of a paper qualification, something like professional qualification. And then we will, on our part, give information advice. Okay, we have a pool of experts in our group here, and this can be done via electronically, or we have also what do you call that, bulletin. Okay, bulletin in our website. Publication. Okay, we have electronic publication from the journals, and very good for career development. As we have been discussed, it's something new in Turkey. People would like to have some kind of membership or some kind of affiliation of this. Participation in training, yes. Maybe we will discuss after how we can conduct training modules, alright, specialized programs and other opportunities. Okay. Alright. Now this is the fees part. Okay. As I said, if you are associate member, there are two types. If you are associate member, for local, we talk about US lah. Annual fee is $100. Alright, associate. If you are ordinary member, that would be $200. Now, if you're institutional member, it is
Those are ringgit.
100 1,000 US dollars. You look on this side. Look on this side.
100, 200 are ringgit. In US dollar, it is.
Yeah, this is US dollars, bro. Join-in fee, and then this is the annual fee. Okay, this is just one-time fee. One-time fee. This is the annual fee. Okay.
What do they get?
What?
What do they get out of this membership?
Well, I said that's not. This is what I mentioned just now. The profession. Well, yeah, this is a part of it that we have to brainstorm. Maybe after lunch. We will think also how maybe we could cooperate with ICAM, how we can join. But to me, what's important is at the end of the day what you get from it. Okay. Yeah. Not so much of paying the money. Long term, I believe this is a long term investment. Okay, these are the modules that we bring along, and we think that we have some kind of workshop later on. We can conduct this module. There are so many of them. Okay, on accounting, on financial mathematics, Islamic economics, and so on and so forth. So we brought some of that outside there. You can have a look.
Are these booklets free from the modules?
Yes, these are the specialized modules that we've got already.
Can you reach them from the internet?
Available outside.
Ready-made. It's available outside. It's available outside.
I looked, but I didn't see all of them.
Yeah, some of them.
I searched for the
Üst üste konmuş da üsttekileri gördün, alttakiler aynısı değil. Farklı şeyler üst üste.
Okay, in various areas, various dimensions that you said just now, Islamic finance, marketing, so on and so forth.
But I think maybe just to mention, these modules are introductory level.
Yes.
Because the purpose is meant for those who are not in the area. Right? So if you are somebody in capital market and you look at a capital market module, you will think that this is it's meant to be elementary. Because it's meant for the non-capital market person.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, we also have books. So far, ECFI has produced 2 books. One on Islamic currency by Dr. Adam. Then recently we have one on Islamic leadership by 3 authors. Okay, one is Prof. Khalid, and then Dr. Fontaine and Dr. Ghaffur. And on my last slide here is to say that publication. Of course, we have the MIFA publication. Then they have the modules and the 2 books. So in that sense, we are also quite new in terms of publication. Okay, this is our contact point. ECFI Secretariat, like Prof. Malia said, the Kuliah has been so kindly given us a space to operate our ECFI Secretariat. It is in Gombak. And then our website is this one, www.ecfi.net. Okay, inshallah. Let's go at the room.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Zul. If you have questions about ECFI,
I have a modest proposal towards Islamization of currency or monetary system all over the world. You have also publication Islamic currency. Let's get rid of this US dollar. Your membership fee. Use local currencies. Ringgit and Turkish lira.
Yeah, I mean, we can always enhance this program.
It is floating,
Great idea. I think this shows you the dilemma that we face, right?
Yeah.
On the one hand, you want to develop Islamic perspectives, but then you still have US dollars.
Before going, thank you for your contributions. Before going.